Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making this cute mini leprechaun. His hat and body are all one piece, and then we will have to attach the beard and do a little bit of embroidering. And if you prefer the plush yarn, I've also made a sample in number 6 blanket yarn. You can follow along this exact same pattern. For this video, I will be using a number 4 yarn, a 4.25 millimeter hook, and 10 millimeter safety eyes. And for the plush version, I am using a number 6 blanket yarn, a 5.5 millimeter hook, and 14 millimeter safety eyes. This is a crochet along, so I will be doing every stitch with you. And I am also providing a drop down at the top of the screen with the pattern instructions for the first 30 seconds of every row for you to follow along with. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does it help me out, but you'll also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. Okay, I think that's everything. So grab your yarn and let's get started. All right, we are going to start at the top of the hat, and you can begin your rounds any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'm going to be making a knot with a loop on the end, so what I do is I fold my yarn over in half. I'm going to pinch it up at the top, wrap it around my finger, down and through to make a knot. Then I'm just going to pinch that little loop. I'm going to pull up my knot so that my loop is just a little bit bigger than my hook. Insert your hook, grab your yarn, pull up, and chain 1. And remember, that does not count as a stitch. That just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, going over top of the tail, we're going to do 8 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whoopsie, and 8. And then pull that tail if you need to close up that hole. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one, and for row 2 we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 single crochet for 1, 1 increase for 2, and 3, and then repeat that around. 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, increase, 11, and 12. Row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. So 1 increase for 2 and 3, and repeat that around. 4 increase, 5 and 6, 7 increase, 8 and 9, 10 increase, 11 and 12, 13 increase, 14 and 15, 16 increase, 17 and 18. Our next row, we are going to be going in the back loop. So if you've never done that before, instead of going down underneath the V through both those loops, you're going to come down in between the V's, just catching that back loop, and you're going to be leaving this front loop so that our work kind of goes down towards in a square. So for row 4, in the back loops only, we're going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. So down through the V, just catching that back loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 5, we are going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 6, we are going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then on our 18th one, we're going to go in, grab our yarn, pull up, but leave those 2 loops on the hook because we're going to change color now. And don't cut your yarn because we're only doing 1 row, and we'll just pick it up on the next row. So now you're just going to grab your stripe color, and we're just going to tie that color to our old color nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it, 2 or 3 times. Then you're going to grab that, new color. Where is it? There it is. Then you're going to pull it through those 2 loops you left on your hook to finish off that last stitch of your previous row. Row 7, you're going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Then on our 18th one, again, we're just going to leave those 2 loops on the hook. This time we are going to cut our yarn because we don't need the black for a little bit. Leave enough of a tail that you can tie with. And then you're going to tie that color to your old color. Nice and tight. As close to the hook as you can get it. 2 or 3 times. Then you're going to pick up your new color, pull it through those 2 loops to finish off the last stitch of your previous row. Row 8, we are going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, the next row we are going to be going in the front loops. So for the front loops, instead of going under both of those V's, you're going to come down and you're going to come up through the V's, catching that front loop and leaving these back loops. And this is very important because we're going to need these back loops for the next row when we attach our next color. All right, so for the next row, in the front loops only, we are going to do 18 increases all the way around. So 1 increase, 2 increases, 3 increases, 4 increases, 5 increases, and remember these are all the front loops, and if you're doing it right, when you flip it over around, you'll see all those back loops being left behind. Keep on going. This is 6 increases, 7 increases, 8 increases, 9 increases, 10 increases, 11 increases, 12 increases, 13 increases, 14 increases, 15 increases, 16 increases, 17 increases, and 18 increases. Then you're just going to slip stitch into the next stitch. We're going to tie this off. Leave yourself a little bit of a tail, not that much. I'm going to be using this at the end to come up and kind of hook it into the hat so that we don't have a poofed up hat like this, and it'll stay nice and flat. So we want to keep that also on the outside of our work, and then we'll deal with that closer to the end. Okay, now we're going to attach our skin colored yarn to our hat in the back loops. You can attach however you prefer. I'm going to leave a bit of a tail in case I want to tie to this after. And I'm just going to make my knot with the loop on the end. Then we're going to come to our first stitch, and if you're not sure which back loop to go into, all I do is you can come into your very first increase on that, looking at the, what is that, right side, and then just flip it around and then just hook into that first back loop in that first stitch. So I'm going to attach my yarn, pull it through. I'm going to chain one, and this is not going to count as a stitch. That's just attaching my yarn to my next row. And for row 10 in the back loops, we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase. We're going to repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. So in that same stitch you attach to, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and an increase for 3 and 4. And as you're going around, if you pull down the brim of your hat, it'll make those back loops easier to see. All right, so continue on. 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, increase, 23, and 24. All right, now make sure that your last 2 tails that you left, so there's your hat tail and your skin color tail, are on the outside. And also where you did that chain, that you're not going in the chain, you're going ahead of the chain and behind your first single crochet in that very first V. All right, row 11, we're going to start off with 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to make the ear, and we're going to do what I call a double crochet cluster of 3. So we're going to yarn over, go into that next stitch, grab our yarn, pull up, grab our yarn, and go through the first 2 loops on the hook. So that's 1, yarn over in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. So that's 1, 2, yarn over in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn, go through the first 2 loops on your hook, and now we have 1, 2, 3. You're going to grab your yarn and you're going to go through all 4 loops on your hook. And now we're going to do 9 single crochets across. You may have to push that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now we're going to do our other ear, so another double crochet cluster of 3. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then pull that yarn through all the loops on your hook. And then we should have 7 single crochets to finish off the row for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Row 12, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, oopsie, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 13, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Whoops. We're going to change color on this last one. So leave those 2 loops on your hook. We can cut this color. Make sure you leave a little bit of a tail for tying, and then you are just going to grab your new color, tie it to your old color, nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it, 2 or 3 times. Then you're going to grab that new color, bring it through those last 2 loops of your previous row to finish off that stitch. Row 14, we are going to start off with 9 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and now we're going to go in the back loops and do 6 single crochets. So remember, we're going to go down through the middle of the V, out the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, And then we're going to do 9 single crochets to finish off the row for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Row 15, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and on our 24th one, we're going to leave those 2 loops on our hook because we're going to change to our belt color. Don't cut this yarn because we're just going to do 1 row and we'll be using that again. So grab your belt color and tie that to your old color nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it, 2 or 3 times. And then you're going to pick up that new color, pull it through those last 2 loops of your previous stitch to finish off that row. Row 16, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and on our 24th one, we're going to change back. So go in, grab your yarn, pull up, leave those 2 loops on your hook. You can cut this one now. Make sure you leave a little bit of a tail for tying. And then we'll tie our old color and our new color back together again. Nice and close, as tight to the hook as you can, 2 or 3 times. And then you're going to take that green and pull it through to finish off that last stitch of your previous row. All right, row 17, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 18, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. All right, let's take our hook out. We're going to put our eyes on, add a little bit of stuffing. So grab those and get those ready. All right, now make sure you're putting them on the front. So where your stitch marker is and all your little tails, that's the back. Where you've been crocheting is the back. So make sure you're on the front. And you're just going to come down 2 rows into your skin color. You're going to go right where your ear is, skip 1 stitch, and then go into the next stitch. Then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So you have your stitch where your ear is connected, skip 1 stitch, go into the next stitch, and if you're not sure, they should be evenly spaced between the ears with 1, 2, 3, 4 holes in between. If you're happy with where they are, you're just going to put the backs on. And then we'll add a little bit of stuffing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stuff a little bit up into the hat top first. Try and keep it flat and not poofed up like that. But we will fix that after if it does kind of go out of shape. So I'm just holding the top with my fingers and I'm pushing that stuffing up into the top of the hat. And then I'm going to start stuffing into the head and body. What I want to do is have enough stuffing in that I have most of my stuffing, but I don't want to have so much in because we only have 3 rows left to make the bottom flat. I don't want that stuffing to be in my way. So probably about that much, let's say. So I'm stuffed, so I probably have about 2 or 3. Well, let's say I'm stuffed to about where the belt is. All right, let's get our hook back in. This next row, we're going to be going in the back loops. So remember, we're going to be going down through the V, out the back. Row 19, in the back loops, we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 16. So into the back loop, 1 single crochet, 1 decrease for 2, single crochet for 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, decrease for 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, decrease for 14, 15, decrease for 16. Remember, if you need to, stuff as you go. We only have one row left. Row 20, we're just going to do 8 decreases all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you're just going to slip stitch into the next stitch, tie that off. I always leave a long tail for this just in case you want to make a loop at the top or something. You always will have that option. And now we have to make sure we stuff the rest of this little guy here. What you want to do when you're doing the last little bit is you want to be stuffing out to the corner here and leaving the bottom flat. So I just take my finger and kind of push over into the space in the corners. And I'm turning them as I go here. I think I just about got it. Maybe a little bit more on the back. And then just double check that it's still flat on the bottom because you want them to sit. That should be enough here, I think. And now we're not going to close this because when we do our embroidering, we're going to be coming up and out through the bottom. Okay, let's start by putting these back tails away. So you're going to grab your hat tail, thread that onto your darning needle. So I'm just going to come around one of my stitches here to make the brim a little more even. And then I'm going to come down into my brim and out at the bottom so that I can tie to this tail right here. And what I'm hoping that does is make it so when we pull on this string later on, we're not squishing down our brim. So we're just going to lightly tie this so they kind of stay together. All right, thread our hat tail back on. And now we're going to go in nice and close to where the hat joins the skin. We're going to come up through the center. Oh, I'm going to get rid of my stitch marker. So that's not in our way. And it is. Oh, whoopsie. I think I tied to that. Okay, so now, once we're inside, we're going to come up through the center. And I don't know if it's better to go to the front or the back, but I've been going to the front. So I'm going to go around this front loop. So I'm facing the front, around that front starting loop, I guess. Then I'm going to come back out where I started, where this other tail is, and I tied them. And we're just going to pull that down a bit. I think I kind of squished them, taking my stitch marker out. We can fix that. Just pull it so it stays flat, but it's not too concave. Then again, I'm going to tie those two together. And if for some reason you ended up with your other tail on the inside, you can just tie a knot catching a stitch here instead. And we'll just put those out somewhere. I'm going to bring mine out the bottom. I'll give them a cut. Oh, I really twisted my everything here, didn't I? All right, and now we will do his little beard next. So grab your orange. Leave yourself a bit of a tail for tying the ends together. We're going to start with a chain. So however you prefer to do a chain, I'll be making my knot with the loop on the end. And we're going to start by chaining 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to take our guy upside down, and we're going to come into this first front loop that we made when we did our first row of the green. So just go under that. We're going to do a 1, oops, I need my yarn on the other side. We're going to do 1 single crochet, and then we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. So you're going to yarn over, you're going to go into that next front loop, grab your yarn, pull up. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook. Grab your yarn and go through all 3 loops on your hook. Now we're going to do a half double crochet increase. So that's 1 half double crochet and a second half double crochet in the same stitch. Now we're going to do another half double crochet increase in the next stitch. So that's 1 and 2. And now we're going to do a half double crochet in this next stitch. And then we're going to do a single crochet in the next stitch. And that should bring you to the last of your 6 front loop stitches. And then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then tie off, again leaving a tail for tying this together. So it should look like this. You got your beard on your front and your 2 little ends that we're going to tie up above the ears. So grab your darning needle. Doesn't matter which side you're on, but I'm starting with the left side. I'm just going to come up here. You can just test it first if that's where you want it, but I'm just going to come up just above the ear here, kind of in the middle of the ear, and I'm just going to come in where the hat and the skin meet, and then I'm going to come out on the bottom underneath the beard. And then you're just going to pull that till it's nice and tight, making sure that all your stitches are facing the same way. Give it a bit of a pull so the knot goes through. You may have to fix your ear later. I just stick my darning needle in and give it a bit of a pull. Then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So thread your yarn onto the needle. We're doing the right side now. come up, matching whatever you did on this side. So I'm right above the ear, in between the hat and the skin color. And I'm going to come down in the same spot that I came out with the other end. Make sure your stitches for your chain are all facing the same way before you give it a good pull. Just get that knot through. There we go. And now I don't really have to do this on this one, but when I did the plush yarn, my beard kind of wanted to stick up like this. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go and catch one of these bottom stitches. So I'm not in one of the V's. I'm lower than the V's. I'm just going to catch one of those stitches. And then I'm going to tie my two tails together. And that will keep that beard kind of laying flat down against his little body. Just make sure when you're tying this, or where you brought your yarn out, that you're not going to be covering his belt. All right, and we'll get those threaded on and back out. So I'm going to go back in that same hole where I brought my ends out, and I'm just going to come down out the bottom and then give that a cut. And keep in mind when you're cutting these bottom ones, don't cut your closing tail. I have done that once. I had to take the last row apart and attach the yarn again. All right. And now grab a little piece of gold or yellow or whatever color you want to make as buckle. And I'm pretty sure I do this different every time. So however you prefer to make a little square, or you can follow along with me. So I'm going to use the two, so this is my center stitch right here. I'm going to use the two stitches on either side of that center, just above the black point on either side. So bring your yarn all the way through, leave a little bit of tying, or yarn for tying. I'm going to skip that center stitch, and I'm going to go into the next stitch. And I'm going to go straight down, kind of just above that green stitch there. You want to make sure you're keeping in the black as best you can. Now I'm going to go to the other side. So I'm just kind of going where I can under there. I'm going to go straight up. I'm going to come back down into here. I'm going to go over to this side and straight down. So we're just making a square around the black stitches. And then out the bottom for tying. Just like that. And if you got a little bit of a mistake or it looks funny, just kind of pull and move your little stitches around. Let's tie that. And give those a cut. And then we're going to do the one up top. You can go through the bottom or through the back here. I'm going to go through the back just in case you're doing the plush version and you don't have a ton of yarn to go through. I'm just going to start in the back. Find my center here. So I'm going to use this as my center stitch. I'm going to come on one side of that center black point. Leave some thread for tying. Go skip that one. Go into the next one on the other side. And straight down. And I'm going to go across, kind of even with this side, and straight up. And I'm just going to make my two side bars, so straight down, I'm going to go over to this side and straight down. Just like we did the bottom one. And then you're either going to go down if you started down, or you're going to come out in the same spot if you started in the back. Give those a tie. Not too tight because you don't want to pull your little buckle stitches. And then if you went this way, you'll just thread your ends back on and put them out somewhere. I might try and come out the bottom for these ones. Then let's do the little mouth. Now I'm going to be using a piece of yarn that I separated. So what I've done is I've taken my regular yarn and I've unraveled it so that I could take one strand of the 4 strands that are in there. So there's my little strand there. I've already used the other 4. We'll thread that on. If you have embroidery thread, that will work better because I have broke this before. Come up the bottom and you're going to come just one hole inside from the eye and above your beard. Leave a little bit of thread for tying. And your other stitch is going to come over here on the inside of your other eye. So then you just want to find a center between those. And I'm just going to come down right here and come over to this eye hole. We're just making a little V here. Then I'm going to come back and go down in that same center stitch and out the bottom. Don't pull this too tight. Just enough to make your little V shape. And we'll give that a tie. Nice and light and tighter as you go. Whoop. And give that a little cut. And now we're going to do the little hand. So take yourself a fair-sized chunk of your skin color. I'm going to say I have at least 2 feet. You probably don't need that much. I always rather have a little more than not enough. We'll thread that on. Come up through the bottom, and we're going to come kind of around the back side to the middle of the eye. Whatever stitch kind of falls in there. 1 row down from where we started our green. So I'm just kind of even with the outside of the eye here. And on the outside of the beard. So leave a little bit of thread for tying. Then we're just going to wrap around this 1 stitch right here 4 times. So 1. Oops, I went funny there. I'm just going to fix that. This will be 2. This will be our 3rd one. And then on our 4th one, we're going to come down and we're going to come over and match that same stitch on this side. So the outside of the eye, outside of the beard. I'm going to go right there. I might be a little bit far out. No, that's okay. If for some reason you don't think you want to go this way, you can always go this way. Whichever way looks right to you. And then we'll do 4 times around. So that's 1 time. That's 2 times. Whoops. This will be 3 times. And on our 4th, when we go down, we'll just come out the bottom for tying. if you have a lot left over like I do, you can always save this if you do another one or something else. I'll give that a cut. And just double check them if they seem about the same. So mine aren't too bad. This one might be a little bigger, so I'm just going to come on this side, go under all my little loops, and just give it a bit of a wiggle and a pull, and pull those out a bit to match. Now we're just going to do the same thing for the feet. Grab yourself a fair sized little scrap of yarn, thread that on, come up the bottom. And this time we want to be just above this line of front loop stitches and right under the middle of the hand. So like that. So here's our hand, just kind of middle or front of the hand. Leave some yarn for tying. And then we're going to go around this way, just so that our feet are a little bit closer than our hands. And we're going to go around 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and then on our 4th one we're going to go over, same thing, just above that front loop, kind of just under the middle or the front of the hand, whichever looks the best to you. I'll try there, and then again I'll just have a look. Do I want to go this way or this way? I think backwards if I go look at my belt here. The 4 times around this side. 1, 2, 3, and then on our 4th one out the bottom for tying. Oh, wrong one. And then we'll give that a cut. And if you have a lot of this scrap, save that. It's great for mouths in the future. All right, and then now we'll thread on this tail. So we can close that up, and if you want to cover all those little ends, you can just take a tiny little bit of stuffing and stick it down in the bottom like that, and then you won't see those anymore. And then we'll close them up. We're just going to catch these top loops and go all the way around. If you are doing one in plush yarn and your yarn breaks really easy at this point, try going in 2 or 3 stitches, giving it a pull, and then going in a couple more. All right, I'm all the way around now, so I'm just going to give it a nice pull to close. Then I'm just going to tie a knot in the next or the closest stitch. Then you're just going to come up through the center. Now, if you're done with it and he's going to be sitting, you can always come out the back. But if you're not sure, and you might turn him into a keychain, or you want to make a little loop or a chain up top for him, you're going to come up that center loop. And then you have that there for future. Now, before you guys go, I'd like to ask a opinion of you guys, because I did make a girl. I kind of like her from the front. I could live with her from the front, but then as soon as you look at her from the side and the back, I'm like, I'm not sure. So let me know if you want me to make that little girl. And I'm just going to show you also, she looks worse in this version. So kind of cute in the front, but look at this. I don't know. So if you want me to make the girl, let me know down in the comments. I'll make her if even a couple people say yes. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you'll also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. I'd also like to say thank you to everyone who has been so kind to have hit the thanks button and sent me such generous donations. You will now be listed at the end of all my next videos as my super thanks friends. Take care, be safe, and happy crocheting!